Hi everyone! It's been a few weeks since I made a video, so I thought I would make another one. I've been working a lot on these lockets. I've had a few social obligations, you know, photographing weddings and whatnot, but I basically come home from work, eat something, and come into the studio, and I've been making really good progress. The issues that I was having, with the first locket, this guy, are resolved. I figured out the little oven that I was making for it for soldering was not retaining the heat as well as I needed it to, so I fixed that problem. And for those of you who might have that problem, if you build like a little oven around your piece with scrap sheets of metal, or I don't know if probably can't see it over there, but I used scrap sheets of nickel and copper, and I put soldering blocks behind them, prop them all up on each other, and they retain the heat really well. And so this is the first locket. There's the inside frame that was originally the back, and I pierced that out, and then I soldered on a new back. The hinge, happily soldered very well. That just, you know, took some diligence. It's not perfect, but not perfect is okay by me right now. And these little guys on the front, these are catches. There will be some little clasps right here that fold up and fold over the catch. I still have to perfect those. I decided after I soldered the hinge on that I would be sticking to cold connections, and I'll show you the components in a second, but those cold connections are mostly built with nuts and bolts for trains, for hobby trains that people build. So anyway, that's the first locket. The second locket is right here. It's got these cute little ruffles on it. It's kind of a box. It's kind of not a Viewmaster, but you can look inside of it from the top, and you can look inside of it, you know, from the angle. I wanted to create something where you could kind of see the perspective of the dream that this was from. The second locket focuses on this dream I had about a little boy, and I wrote it on my blog. It'll all be explained, but anyway, this is that. It's kind of a box. This is the lid. Took a lot of sanding to get it perfectly fit, but it fits well, and that's what you want a box to do. Fits great. I'm going to pierce out a little viewing area in here. I'm not going to make it too big because I want the lid to have integrity. Since it's such a tight fit, I don't want it to bend when you open it. Hopefully people won't be opening it once it's all closed up. But so that's the second locket. This is going to have I can't remember the name of it right now. A piece of plastic that'll be set inside, and there'll be screws holding it in. So that's that. I'm still working on the chain for it. The chain is in my head. I'm not sure whether I'm going to use snake chain or build my own. It's going to be a necklace so that you can kind of pick it up and look inside of it. Building the landscape inside of it's going to be interesting. I have to pick the brain of the man at the hobby shop and figure out how to do that securely, since these will all be traveling thousands of miles and being handled and all that stuff. I need it to retain its integrity and strength and not have stuff flying around inside of it. So that's locket number 2. And locket number 3, this is the frame for it, part of the frame for it. it, when I was living in Australia, I have deja vu a lot. That's part of why my dreams are so meaningful to me, or so important to me, is because I seem to have these dreams about the future, and then they happen. That event happens. I don't remember the dream after I've had it until it happens, and then I get this influx of just these images from the dream, and it's kind of overwhelming. It started when I was a teenager, probably like 15, 16, and it was kind of scary at first, but I got used to it. I kind of came to appreciate it. But anyway, so this phone was part of one of those dreams and experiences. When I lived in Sydney, I had a boyfriend in Adelaide, South Australia, and I went to visit him at his mom's house, and he and his mom were having this conversation, and they were standing, one of them was standing, one was sitting, and there was a phone between them, and they were having this conversation, and it was so bizarre because I knew exactly what the other person was going to say next. I just kept looking between them and thinking, oh my gosh, this is so bizarre. And I'd had the dream about 5 years before that happened, way before I even met him, and it was just such a strange experience. It was really strong, and so I decided to use that as one of the inspirations for these lockets. So I found this great little vintage trimline phone keychains, and I'm going to dissect it a little bit. I'm going to try and make a coil for the cord, because that was part of the original phone, and I couldn't find one that had a coil on it, so I got some plastic polishing compound, and I guess I'm just gonna test it on some other plastic and see how it holds up and try my best. I'm sure it'll be fine. And I think this will either be a necklace or maybe a brooch. I think a brooch would be fun. Maybe a necklace though. It's gonna be fun anyway. Yeah, and that'll have some patterning on the front and back. And so I talked about some components earlier. I wanted to show you some of those. The chain for the first locket, I made this. I love it. It's like a little S-hook chain. And I'm using these little tiny train screws, the nuts and bolts that you use for hobby trains, and they're brass. You can solder them onto things. You can use them in jewelry applications, and they come in different sizes. These are 0.80 size, and I think that there were some bigger and some smaller than this. And so I picked these up at the hobby shop. I got nuts and bolts and washers, and so for cold connections, I don't like riveting at all. I'm not good at it. I'll do it if I absolutely have to, but if I really don't have to, I'll avoid it. I'm just not confident with riveting. I should probably practice and make myself expert at it. But so that is going to, it's kind of like a little purse holder, and so that is going to attach here with the nut and bolt. And then the little clasps for the catch on the first locket, they'll go in here, and this is the initial shape. I need to shape it some more so that it fits around the catch. They're not perfected. I might even have to cut them and solder them again, but that's okay. And one of the elements in that first in the first Locket, in that first dream I had about my dad and I traveling to Sydney, which was a really fun dream. There's this building on the right, and I might actually provide a link to the Google map of this building. And on the left there's this red element, and I can't remember if it was part of a building. I went on the street level of Google Maps and I walked around in Sydney, which is really kind of funny. And I can't tell if there's like a building there that's red, but there's this red element to my dream, and so I have this square, and I put 2 of the screws on the back of it, and I have tubing to hold it away from the back of the Locket, and those will just go, they're a little off right now, but they'll just go in here, and this will be red with enamel paint, but that'll go like that. And they have they'll have, you know, bolts on the back, or nuts on the back of them, keeping them in. So that's kind of cool. I still have to fully figure out the train people, how I'm going to secure the train people. They're really tiny. So I got some advice from a fellow jeweler, and hopefully the the advice will work. These will all be blackened to give them, I don't know, I like blackened copper. Just feels sculptural and soft, and gives a good background for any color and detail. So I guess that's it. If you have any questions, leave me a comment or email me. And I hope everyone enjoys the video. Alright, I'll make another one in about a week. I'm hoping to ship these out at the end of this week or the beginning of next week. I've got a lot of work to do, but I'll be able to get it done. Alright, thanks. Bye.